Systems of governance can also be classified as parliamentary systems and presidential system. Now, in addition to what was discussed before, background knowledge about the parliamentary system and the presidential system may prove useful in understanding the present Sri Lankan setup. Let's first take a look at a parliamentary system. The Westminster model represents the fundamental features of the British Constitution, which have been copied or transplanted in many countries. It is a democratic parliamentary system of government. Some of its main features include: 1. The head of the state is not the effective head of the government. The effective head of government is the Prime Minister. The executive branch of the government is drawn from the legislature, and it also ensures that Parliament is supreme. Let's now take a look at the concept of parliamentary supremacy. In the United Kingdom, sovereignty consists of 4 features. 1. Parliament can pass any laws. 2. Parliament cannot bind future parliaments. And 3. Sovereignty is vested in the Parliament, and no other body can share sovereignty with the Parliament. No court of law can declare an act of Parliament void or inquire into the procedure followed in passing the act. Let's take a look at some country-specific examples of parliamentary systems, chief being the United Kingdom. They have a bicameral legislature. What is meant by bicameral legislature? This means that the business of Parliament takes place in 2 houses, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The decisions made in one house have to be approved by the other. In this way, the 2-chamber systems acts as checks and balances for both houses. As was mentioned before, the United Kingdom has a bicameral parliament. This means 2 houses, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Let's take a look at the House of Commons. They are publicly elected representatives. They're responsible for granting money to the government through approving bills that raise taxes. The party with the largest number of members in the House of Commons forms the government. Members of the House of Commons, or MPs, debate political issues of the day and present proposals for new laws. Now, these members are responsible for making decisions on financial bills. The Lords can consider these bills but cannot block or amend them. Let's now take a look at the House of Lords. Members of the House of Lords are not elected but appointed by the Queen on the advice of the Prime Minister. It is independent from and complements the whole of the elected House of Commons. The Lords share the task of making and shaping laws and checking and challenging the work of the government. We spoke about a bicameral parliament, which was seen in the United Kingdom. There is also a form of parliament known as a unicameral parliament. What is the difference between a unicameral parliament and a bicameral parliament? What does it really mean? A legislature may be a unicameral body with 1 chamber or a bicameral body with 2 chambers. Unicameral legislatures are typically in smaller countries with unitary systems of government. For example, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Israel, and New Zealand. Or in very small countries, for example, Andorra, Dominica, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Tuvalu. Federal states, whether large or small, usually have bicameral legislatures. 1 house usually representing the main territorial subdivisions. The classic example is the Congress in the United States of America, which consists of a House of Representatives with 435 members elected for a 2-year term from single-member districts of approximately equal population, and the Senate consisting of 2 persons from each state elected by the voters of that state. Let's now take a look at the presidential system. In the presidential system, the head of the government is the chief executive, who is directly elected by the people, and the executive is not responsible to the legislature. Both the organs are separate, unlike in the parliamentary system, where the executive is responsible to the legislature. All the organs of the government, being the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, function separately from each other and are constitutionally independent. Let's take a country-specific example to delve further into this. The United States of America. The American presidential term is 4 years. The presidential powers are subject to checks and balances by Congress through its joint committees. Presidential nominations of officers of state are assented or rejected by the Senate. The president has no control over the life of the Congress. He cannot dissolve Congress. The US president may veto a bill passed by the Congress before it becomes a law. Now, if a bill is vetoed, it can become law only if there is a 2/3 majority in the repassing of that bill in each house. Let's now look at the differences between a presidential system and a parliamentary system. In a presidential system, the president is popularly elected either directly by the people or by means of an electoral college system, such as what is seen in the United States of America. Under a parliamentary system, the Prime Minister or the Premier is selected by the legislature. Now, this process of selection can involve actual election by members of Parliament or selection by the majority party or a coalition of parties, followed by appointment of the head of the state. Also, in a presidential system, the president has his or her own electoral base, and thus the president is separate from the legislature. The head of government in a parliamentary system, however, is chosen by members of the national legislature. Under a presidential system, the head of the government is elected for a fixed term of office. For example, in the United States, the president's term in office is 4 years. Under a parliamentary system, the head of the government and the ministers of state depend for their continuation in office on the confidence of the legislature. Under a presidential system, the president cannot be removed during his term in office except by a specially prescribed, politically exceptional process of impeachment. However, under a parliamentary system, the executive officials can be removed from office as a result of a no-confidence vote by the legislature, and such a vote can be promised on mere political disagreement with the government.